Okay, this is that Ölevia, or Ölevia, however you want to pronounce it, TV. You know, I have a couple of these. I have one up here. Great TVs. In fact, I don't like LCD TVs. You know me, I'm a CRT man. And if you didn't know, CRT is the kind that a lot of people call a box TV. And if you're calling it a box TV, quit it because it has a name. It's a CRT. That would be like... I don't know. Anyway, this is a Ölevia brand LCD TV made by a company called Syntax Brillion. This is about the only LCD TV that I would consider buying. They're kind of okay. Here's the information. This one here, from 2008. This is pretty old. It actually still works. Very high hour set. Purchased in 2008 and basically used every day, all day, until about 3 years ago when it crapped out because the capacitors on the power supply board failed, which I then recapped and went back into service, used all day, every day for the next 3 years until I made that last video on this TV and you saw the HDMI was crapping out, and we'll get into what I think happened there in a minute. What I've done is gone ahead and ordered another board. Yes, it's in the microwave. This is the board. This is a Model 242-S11, 42-inch. It uses the same board as the 242-T11. If you need to know something about an Ölevia brand TV, ask me, because I know about all there is to know about them. So, this is the board. This is the part number. And I'm hoping this works, because this TV came with 2 different panels. Some of these say for LPL sharp panel, like this one. Some of these just say for LPL panel. I'm not sure what the difference is. All the connectors are the same. You'll see what these towels here are for in a minute. It's not just me being sloppy. Now, this board was described as perfectly working, and when it showed up, this is the tuner connection. And you can see that the coax connector and this connector here, this one's loose, but that one should be okay. But the coax connector is broken straight off of here. And I don't think that happened during shipping, because how would shipping just break this connector off of here? Now, the board would be cracked in half or something, and this thing was packaged all to hell. Anyway, I don't plan on using the tuning connection, so I contacted the eBay seller and said I'm going to go ahead and install it in the TV, and if it still works, could you maybe give me a partial refund? And the guy said, sure, whatever. So, hell, even if I don't get that, that's fine if it works. I can replace the tuner. I'm going to keep the old board for parts because it still works. Just one of these chips is bad. We'll get into that in a minute, but you can see it wouldn't be too hard. These are the only connections that go to it. Just these. So I could, and these 2 for the grounding shield. I could probably desolder that and put the tuner off of the board that's already in here. It'd be fine because that tuner does indeed still work. So I'm going to go ahead and put the towels, this is what the towels are for, putting them over the screen of the TV so it doesn't get scratched. And then we have to remove a few screws, and I'll come back. This is not a tutorial video. Basically flip it over, take all the screws out of the back, and then the back should come off. You got to take the stand off first, and then the stand is held together with a shit ton of screws because this TV is A, heavy, and B, solidly built, and the stand is actually metal on the inside, but it's held together with just a shit ton of screws there. Then when that comes off, there's a shit ton of screws under it and a shit ton of screws all around there. Pull them all off, the back comes off. There you go. This is not a tutorial video. This is just, I don't even know. Okay, I've opened these up enough to know how that coax connector got broke off, not broked. This is the coax connector, and you can see right there, they're always a little bit loose. Anyway, I've got the case unscrewed, and if I pick it up, it's loose, but you can see it hits the coax connector. You got to pick it up, pull it that way, and it's hard to do with one hand, but pick it up and pull it that way, and then it'll come off. If you try to lift it straight up and just force it, then you're going to break that coax connector off of there. So that's how that happened. Now that we've removed all these screws and all those screws, we get to remove all these screws holding this plate on. Okay, so I found something kind of interesting, and I'm wondering if this does or doesn't have anything to do with this TV's issue, but we'll get into that in a minute. This is the same board, same connectors, all that stuff, but this one has 2 heat sinks. This one has a spot for one, but not another. Now, I don't think that heat sink was removed. It's not showing any reasoning or any indication that it would. And I'll pop that heat sink off of this one. But what I'm thinking is maybe this is a later version of this same board, and they were having issues with them overheating or something, and maybe they did that. Because, I mean, if we're looking at this, it's the same, exactly the same part number, all of that, but this one says NB1, this one says NB4, so this is obviously a newer revision, but everything else is the same. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and unscrew it. There's some screws holding the ports on, and then we can go ahead and put in our new board and see if it will function, and if it will, then we're good. I'll see about, I'm going to keep this board, and maybe at a later date we'll solder this tuner onto here. Maybe not. It doesn't really matter. I don't use the tuner. Now, like I said, this is not a tutorial, but I'd like to mention, don't touch anything on this board. If you're working with this board, use proper precaution to drain all the capacitors and stuff. Is this board not even held down? Yeah, I guess it is with one screw. Anyway, don't touch anything on this board, especially these, the part that I just touched. Don't touch those. Anyway, you can see all these capacitors I replaced. They're all mixed brands. I think I replaced every single one of these, besides for like these little tiny ones and this big one, all the little tiny ones, but every single one of these larger ones I replaced. Okay, old board is removed, and we're going to go over real quick what I think happened. This chip I don't think has anything to do with that, honestly, but it could. But I do think a chip overheated. I tried reflowing the board. I tried flexing it around while it was on, and it was acting up, and none of that made a difference. The only thing that made a difference was heating it up while it was on, particularly this heat sink. Flexing it or none of that made a difference, and like I said, reflowing it didn't make a difference. So it's not a solder joint. It is purely works once it's hot. Now, I've removed this heat sink carefully, and you can see that the thermal paste just looks like pure trash. And it's weird, it's hard, and it's like glue, and it's just not functioning as it should. I had to rip this heatsink off of here, so I'm thinking that that might have failed or become less thermally conductive, either that or it overheated in the first place. If this works, I'm going to put new thermal paste on both of these heat sinks. So we'll go ahead and install the board. I'm just going to secure it down with a screw, maybe 2 screws, just so it doesn't flop around and break. Plug everything in, and we're going to see if it works, and then if it does, we'll hook up a video source to it, see if the HDMI works. And if it does, then we're good. Okay, the board's installed. I've got a power cable connected. I'm going to plug this in right here. You see, nothing's on fire yet. I do not have a blue LED because the TV is on. Okay? So we got life. So let me turn it off because I don't want it to have any time to heat up. Let me plug this fire stick into it. That will be our HDMI source. I don't know if this is on, I think this is 1. This might be 2. We'll figure out soon enough. And of course this cord is just a little bit too short here. Okay, that's plugged in. So we got our blue light. Go ahead and turn it on now. Seems to be reacting quicker. Like before. Okay, so it might be HDMI 2 it's plugged into. Or it might not even be on yet. Huh. There it goes. Okay. No funny nothing. Seems to be working. And it's not doing that weird flickering thing. Let's go to menu. Okay, we got our full 1080. It's not recognizing some weird thing. 242T. So all that's good. And let's just see. Definitely not going to watch Peppa Pig. Sorry. Okay, it sounds like we got sound. Okay, the picture... Now this is interesting, and I know there's a setting on this TV to move this. I've seen it before, but the picture's not going all the way to the bottom of the screen. And I know there's a setting on here to change that. I guess YouTube's not installed. No, I don't really want to install it. Okay, oh, it is. Oh, no, I don't want to update it. No. I just want to see something white or something big, you know, that's going to light up. Okay. So, actually, I know what we're going to do. So, let's see here. Okay, so the top is too far up, the bottom is too far down. I know there's a... First off, let's just do factory settings. Oh, okay, that fixed it. Okay. That's better. Oh, that's a lot better. Looks better, too. So we're good now. These here, can't do anything about those 3 spots. Those are the panel itself. I'm bleeding. I don't know what from. Anyway, those are the panel itself. If I put something on, if I play some pirated, copyrighted content on my YouTube channel, I'm sure YouTube will be perfectly fine with that. They normally are, right? Okay, that seems fine. Sound's working. Video is good. So I'm going to call it good. We'll turn it off. We'll button it completely up. And, dare I say it, it looks better than it did before. Like, even when it was working, it seemed to have some weird display artifacts that I thought were just because the panel was worn out. But maybe they weren't, because it seems fine now. Okay, we'll turn it off. I'm going to change the heatsink compound, or thermal compound on there, and we'll put it back together and call it done. Okay, so like I mentioned, the 242S11 and the 242T11 had the same board, but they don't really. The one that I purchased is out of a T11. This is an S11. And it appears that the board, this one has 2 heat sinks, and this one only has 1. And there are a couple other issues, or not issues, in fact they're better, that I've noticed. Now I'm trying to think of what those were. The ports and everything are the same, and they work just the same. Oh yeah, this chip here, this little socketed chip, I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody... Maybe the camera would focus. Maybe. Am I dreaming? You son of a bitch. This is supposed to be 4K. Okay. Yeah, maybe someone could look up that chip. Tell me what it is, what it does. But that's not on this board, you can see. It's completely missing. Also, there's an artifact for something here that is not there on this board. And like I said, this says for LPL, this says for LPL sharp. Other than that, they seem about the same. Well, there's an extra part here. This thing is here. It's not there, but there's a spot for it. It's a capacitor. Other than that, they are the same. Oh, this RAM chip, 716U 710, so this is smaller. There's a bunch of little small details like that. So this board's might actually not be crazy when I say it's higher quality, as in the picture. But I might also just be imagining it since it's a new board. But let me do that. Anyway, tuner is the same. Same number. So at some point, I don't even know, do I have to desolder that? Could I just take this front piece off of here? I'll actually deconstruct that a little bit and look at that, and if I fix it, I'll come back. But we'll go ahead and put the new thermal paste on there. Okay, so I got this heatsink off, and you can see how bad that looks. This one here is so glued on there, I'm having to heat it up. So, yeah, that's really good. So a bit of heating is all that took, but you can see that's hard as a rock. That ain't doing much anymore. So that is going to have to be replaced. I'm going to clean up the existing stuff. No, not with hand sanitizer. And get that off of there. Okay, so that stuff is a royal pain in the ass to get off. I was able to use a knife to scrape it off of these guys. You can see it still isn't all off. I used my totally not hand sanitizer to get it off of here. And without damaging anything or scrubbing it too hard, I'm trying to put the lid back on my not hand sanitizer. I totally didn't just cut the camera off and use hand sanitizer. Here's the chip. Here's the other one. This one I might, well, I'm going to have to work on some more. This one I got it off of, so we'll just go ahead and apply new thermal paste to that. Now, I don't know what kind of thermal paste they used. I don't really care. This stuff is for PCs, and it's not cheap, so it should be more than good enough to do that. Now, we're going to put that on there, squish it down, and you can see that it is on there because it's not easily moving. So I like to just go around like this some, and then we will press it down, and it's held down. You don't want to pull it back off after you've done that. Like I said, I'll play with that one some more, get the stuff off, but that's basically the idea. Okay, we're all back together. Got the new thermal paste installed. I've got it screwed down. Let's go ahead and hit the power button. And these things do take a while to come on. Once it does, we should be greeted by the Ölevia logo. Then it should go right into the HDMI, and we should have signal. There we go. Yep, there we go. Got signal. Got sound. Now the one thing I do want to check now is an analog input. So I guess we can go to composite and see if that works. Okay, that is working. Okay, one thing that seems to amaze me, people don't understand how the power button on the PlayStation 2 works. You don't just press it, because that'll reset it. Although for some reason it's not now. You don't have to flip the switch on the back. You just press and hold the button, and it will turn off, if I can press and hold it long enough. There we go. That's all you have to do. It's not rocket science. Now the other thing I was a bit concerned about was that loose thing on for the component. So let's just put it on component and see if I've got DVD to put in here and see if that works. It was the audio that was the issue. So let me just see if I can find a DVD. I don't have a DVD. Why do I have a DVD player then? That's fine. I don't even know if that's hooked up. Let's put it on. Yeah, component 1's what I wanted on. Turn on the cable box. Of course, this thing's still counting down. What's this? No. It's a CD. If a CD would work too. Okay, so it's on, and as you can see, component is working as well. The audio, that is, because that's what I was worried about. Okay, why is the volume thing not going away? There it goes. Why is it only in 480? Maybe the show is in 480? Huh. Why are we only getting 480? What's going on here? I mean, obviously this is on my TV box, not the TV, but I would like to see it in 1080i. Why? No. Yeah, there you go. Definitely save that. Why would I want it in 480? Let's see if the TV's recognizing it. Yeah. Okay. So. Oh. Incredible. Maybe not quite incredible, but wonderful. Definitely that. It's working. That's great. Okay. Thank you for watching. I'm sure there's going to be some keyboard cowboys out there saying how I did something wrong in the comments. But if you ask me, it looks like it's working just fine. So unless you have a valid argument as to why I did something wrong, or maybe why it's illegal to put a new board in your TV instead of just buying a new one, because I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't leave any stupid comments because I will grill you. Goodbye.